Hello, everyone, and welcome to United Way. Live United. I'm Terry Westerfield, and joining me today, I am proud to have folks in from Jefferson Parish Government, from Atmos Energy, and my colleagues from United Way of Southeast Louisiana. I want to welcome to the program four great people here to talk about the Imagination Library. Carl Weber, who is the Manager of Public Affairs for Atmos Energy Corporation, Louisiana Division. Welcome, Carl.
Good morning. Thank you.
Joining us today, also Jedediah Jackson, who is the Director of Jefferson Parish Community Action Programs. Welcome, Jedediah.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Also here today, Melody Reed, who is the Director of Resource Development and also Student Community Partnerships for United Way of Southeast Louisiana. Melody.
Hi there.
Hey, thanks for coming back. And last but not least, my pal Jamie Birchfield, the Marketing Director for United Way of Southeast
Hello.
Louisiana. Hello, everybody. You know, this is going to be a good program because it's something that I think we all love. Early grade reading and literacy, it can set a child on the path to future success in school and in life. And do you all remember how it was to first learn to read? You're figuring out what all those letters and those words spelled, and then holding that first book, maybe curling up to read, really read for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, using your imagination to envision what the characters looked like and what they sounded, oh, it was amazing. And the gift of reading. It is that. It's just an amazing, amazing thing. And that's why you're all here today.
Absolutely.
Because the folks at Atmos Energy are giving that gift of imagination and books to some children in Jefferson Parish through a program that's called Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. It's an initiative of United Way. So welcome, everybody. Yay.
Yay.
We're here. Okay. Well, I'm trying to think where we should start off. I want to get in with Jedediah and Carl, but maybe, Jamie, you can take the lead for just a second. Kind of set up a little bit more about Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, because I remember, I think when we first all heard about it, and we all love Dolly, don't we?
Sure.
Yeah.
Dolly Parton's Imagination Library is an early literacy initiative, and we provide new age-appropriate books to children each month for the first 5 years of their lives. And this is a free program, so it doesn't matter what the family's income. It's a free program for any child that is under the age of 5, and the books are delivered directly to their door. So that's what makes it so great. And I think what's important is that they say up until 5, children learn to read up until 5, and after 5, they read to learn. So it's extremely important for these kids to get this early literacy, because that could definitely affect how they operate throughout their lives.
Oh, it is. It's, as I said, kind of putting everybody on the right path. Come on, do you remember those first books? I may have grown up when dinosaurs roamed, but there was a fly went by, and Dr. Seuss, and one fish, two fish, red fish. Come on, you guys remember that, don't
Yes,
you?
most certainly, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's a lot of energy behind it. I do remember as a child reading books and just having that spark my imagination about possibilities of what I can be in the future and that sort of thing. So, yeah, books play a really valid role in early childhood development. Reading, yes.
Well, Carl, why did Atmos decide to get involved? I mean, I think you just kind of spelled it out, but
Right.
there were so many things you could be doing, and yet here you are saying, no, we want to get those books in the hands of some kids.
Well, Atmos Energy has several areas of focus for the community. One of them is education. And we recognize that early childhood development plays a key role in beginning the education process. So for being familiar with the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, we talked to United Way about trying to get it started in Jefferson Parish. Mm-hmm. Try to get kids prepared, I guess, ready for school. And to figure the process out, that's why we started looking at Jedediah's group with community action agencies and Head Start, and looking at how we can model a process there and expand it and grow it throughout the parish.
Well, that seems like a natural segue. Jedediah, please, because you've got great
Sure,
two
yes.
powerhouses coming together here. Or
Yes,
three,
no,
yeah.
no. The partnership that we're here to discuss today is a great marriage, because at the end of the day, our responsibility. We work every day with 930 children, and interestingly enough, families as well. And putting books in the hands of a child that may not have had that opportunity, giving them the chance to start a library at home, understanding the value of literacy, is a true and measurable way to increase their chances of success in the future.
Well, I don't know if you're parents, but I know my colleague, the lovely Miss Melody Reed, is.
Yes, yes.
Sammy, oh, adorable, but he's a little guy, and I think I've heard you
He's-
talk about before. He's already fascinated with books, and I know you read to him,
Absolutely.
and he's trying to read too.
I'm a resident of Jefferson Parish, and I'm raising a 3-year-old. And, I have this little boy who every night before we go to bed, he wants to read a book, and he goes and he picks out one. And, it really is great, not just for him as far as learning and using his imagination, but just family time, just that bonding of, of parents and our child, and just kind of snuggling up and getting settled down for the night and doing some reading and telling a story. It's something that's completely priceless, and that's one of the things that I love so much about this program is giving that opportunity to more families in Jefferson Parish.
I was just saying, I think it's something that you hit on it, the family time. Something we all say we want more of, but yet that seems to be getting less and less as the demands of our life and career take over. So this is a beautiful opportunity to bring that back.
Absolutely. Even as a grandparent, we spend time with our grandchildren reading. It gives us that quality time we don't get when the brats are away from our house, But it's
Carl, they're listening.
I know. But it's fun. It's really great, and it's again, it's our way to contribute to their future. Watching them develop and read, and it's just like, wow. I can imagine what these kids would be like when they're at my age or something like that. So yeah, it's just a great process.
And as much as it helps the children, it helps the parents and the families as well, because parents at the end of the day want to at their core be a good example for their children. In some respects, they don't want their children to outshine them. So they want to make sure that if they're putting something in their child's hands, or if they're part of a program that's putting something in their child's hands, that they're actually living up to that example and living up to that expectation that's been set.
Yeah,
And I was going to say,
absolutely.
because it's a literacy initiative, that I'm always surprised to hear how many, unfortunately, parents in our area still have problems with reading, that they didn't have the opportunities that you're now giving their children.
Right.
So this is not only just the bonding, the familial aspect of it, but a little bit of opportunity for mom or dad or grandma or whomever to get involved and maybe sharpen up their skills and learn something new too.
Absolutely, yes.
And as Jedediah pointed out earlier, this is actually, we're building a home library. These books come directly to their homes, to their door, and the postal system. So it doesn't go to school. It stays in the home, and it's every month for the first 5 years of their lives. That's an incredible opportunity for these children.
And they're really great books, too.
Yes.
That's
They're
what
Yes.
books do we have?
they start out with The Little Engine That Could, because kind of the theme of the Dolly Parton Imagination Library is like this big train, and so it's
Sound like in Dollywood?
yes. So it does start out with that, and then the last book is, I forget what it's called, but it's about
Welcome to Kindergarten.
Welcome to Kindergarten. That's right. And so
Getting
all the books
prepared.
in between are books that you would see at a scholastic book club type thing. They're books that are out there, and they're really, really, really cute, great, fun books that the kids are going to really
And
enjoy
they
reading.
do change on a yearly basis. There's a committee that's set up nationally through Dolly Parton's Foundation, and they review the books nationally, and they pick every year kind of the curriculum of books that are going to go out. And that's important, too. So if there's multiple children in a household, they're not going to get the exact same books. So what the 3-year-old is getting this year is not the same book that the 4-year-old or the 5-year-old is going to get if they're enrolled in the program. It is age appropriate.
Age appropriate.
Correct.
Well, you're talking about this as a free program, but somebody has to pay for the books.
Somebody
And
does have to pay for the
As I'm
books.
looking at Miss Edgerton, this is a great act of altruism, and I know it is a nominal fee, but talk about it again, because this is something. Or Jamie, please weigh in.
Well,
because this is lovely. This is lovely what you're doing for these.
I
What is
mean,
it, 930
bef-
children?
Yes.
Before we turn it over to Carl, I would
Okay.
like to point out that Carl actually brought this to us.
Oh.
I mean, we have the Imagination Library program currently running in St. Tammany and Tangipahoa
Angie.
Parish. But we haven't actually expanded out to Jefferson Parish, of course, because of lack of funding. I mean, that's extremely important, as there is no funding. Carl heard about this program.
Right. We helped sponsor St. John Parish United Way, started Imagination Library there, and we helped co-sponsor that. And the question was, well, why can't we do this here in Jefferson Parish? And that's when I went to the gang here at United Way and kind of poked a stick at them and asked the question.
Yeah, so we formed this coalition, if you will, of people that obviously have an invested interest in young children, and Atmos has definitely led this charge. They are our champion in this. And so that's why we're here, is basically just inviting the community to come together and help Atmos and the folks over at Head Start. Right now we're in the pilot program, so it is not open to the public. It's kind of our initial launch to see, kind of work out some kinks here in Jefferson Parish. So the only kids that are able to enroll right now are in the Head Start programs. We have a very exclusive partnership with them. But once we get the funding and the money on the table, we hope to open it to all children in Jefferson Parish.
See, we all have to. You have to take that first step before you walk, right?
Correct, right.
And I'm glad you brought that stick, by the way, Carl.
Yeah.
And that you poked around a
But
bit.
but they were easy. It didn't take much poking, but they agreed. The other piece, I'm going to have to use the stick again, is go out into the business community and start poking the stick there, because Atmos Energy has stepped up in getting this process started in Jefferson Parish. We're going to look for other organizations, other businesses to contribute also, because the more money we can get into this process, the more books are available to kids out in Jefferson Parish, and the better off as a parish, and as a region will be once kids start to pick up the pace and develop their reading skills. As you said, it isn't free. It costs about $150 per child to get this started, and that's a book from birth to 5 years old. And so Atmos Energy has contributed some seed money, and our philosophy is not just to write a check, but also to kind of get organized and work with people and build relationships. So we're also trying to go out and do outreach and other things too.
You'd like to see some outcomes.
Yeah, absolutely. And because it's not just about, it's not charity, it's investment, and we want to form those relationships to strengthen the community. So we be out there hustling with everyone else, trying to get this process started.
But that's what we need. And yet, what greater investment than into your children, into the community's children? They are our future, as I know, Jedediah, you know all too well.
Oh, yes. And, one of the good things about the Head Start program is not only do the parents have a vested interest in the child's success, but they actually contribute in the form of in-kind or sweat equity to the program. Right. So while some may think it's free, it's, there's a responsibility that the parents have, and they also have been willing to participate in the outreach with us in this effort to ensure that the program gets off to a good start.
Right. We were invited to one of their holiday programs just a month ago, and I was blown away at the amount of parents that attended and really engaged in working with their kids, and they were just swarming all over the place. And that's the kind of thing we need to see throughout all of the education process at all levels.
Melody and I had the opportunity to attend one of the parent meetings. Yeah. It was on healthy eating habits, and we walked away with little fruit sorbets, and we had the best time interacting with the parents.
Really cool. I'm sure.
Yes,
absolutely. It was really, really exciting to see all the parents just so engaged and so excited about helping their kids, and getting to see the relationships between the parents and the educators just grow for the betterment of the kids. It was really exciting.
And as Jedediah said, we do have a couple of parents that are very involved in the Imagination Library Committee, and they have been out there just kind of pounding the streets for us right now, helping us get.
Give them a little bit of a shout out.
Absolutely.
You parents are awesome out there, but we need more. We're doing the outreach to the business community, but as this grows, we'll need more parents to get involved with this. It's a great process.
Well, of the 930 children that are going to be participating in this pilot program, are they in a specific area, or are they throughout Jefferson Parish?
Well, right now we've really started our focus in the Kenner area, at Kenner Head Start, and we're looking to expand next year. I think it was to Tarrytown, Gretna,
the West Bank, right? Yeah,
in the West Bank. So eventually, we're hoping that all will be able to be served by this program.
Bridging the gap.
Yes, that's right. That's right. East Bank and West Bank. But it's an effort, and again, you want to make sure we work in a results-oriented field, and you want to make sure that you can prove to those folks that we're requesting or we're asking for assistance and donation. You want to make sure that you can show them some tangible data that this program actually works, and that's what in the process of doing.
Right.
I mean, and we did a phone survey with the children that are already enrolled in the program throughout Louisiana, not just in our umbrella of parishes, but throughout Louisiana. And some of the results that they came back with were pretty great. The frequency of parents reading daily to their child as a result of their child participating in the Imagination Library increased from 50 to 63%. And that's a 13% gain. That's pretty impressive. But what's great is the children's enthusiasm for reading books increased from 54% to 87%.
That's pretty
Absolutely.
amazing.
That's great.
Yes. And then parents' understanding of the importance of reading to their child increased from 84% to 96%. So, I mean, these are all really good numbers that we actually surveyed the people enrolled in this program. So we have a lot of statistics and a lot of data to back up this program is truly successful.
And,
Yes.
believe it or not, children experience life through paradigms, much like adults do. And establishing those good paradigms, those good, foundation points, concerning literacy and concerning, wanting to learn more. We're in an information age; everything's available. If you have access to it, and I think that this program does a great job in ensuring that access is there to increase and create those results.
As you say, I want to go back and change the name and call it the Amazing Imagination Library, because some of this data is truly amazing. And also, again, what we hope to achieve. And I want to have a little bit of fun right now because you're talking about our first books, and we remember.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, here we go.
Carl, here we go. Or if
wow.
not the first, well, how about the first book, or even maybe one of your favorite books as a child?
As
Let's
a child,
narrow
okay.
it at
All
least to
right.
that.
My uncle gave me a book. I've always been a science nut.
Okay.
And my uncle gave me a book on robots. And this is back in, I'm not going to tell you how many hundred years ago, but, that was mind-boggling for me because it gave the story about early computers and robots, and that's always fascinated me. And I guess that kind of sparked my interest in science and other things. So,
And now, hence, because we're going to hear more about Atmos Energy and maybe why you are where you are.
Well, Atmos Energy, we're one of the largest natural gas distribution companies in the nation. We're the largest in Louisiana. We serve most of Louisiana except places like New Orleans and some smaller city-owned systems. I started off in engineering, really, in the engineering section of Atmos Energy. But I've always been active in the community, and that moved me towards the public relations piece. Public affairs, and so I kind of bridge both worlds and looking at. That's why we're working on processes like this, looking at how we can kind of get a STEM program started and sort of things like that. So so all of that I attribute to those folks who gave me books in the past. And if you go to my home, my wife will tell you right now I have too many books, and I still read. And I still, and it's just they're all over the place. But it's always great to just pick up a book and read and learn something different and try to connect the dots between what you've read in the past and what you're reading now and that sort of thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know reading. I'm an avid reader.
Yeah.
Come on, you're going to share too.
Yeah, I mean, because see, and I'm not that, I guess, seasoned, but you're making me think back.
Not that old. He's saying he's not that
Seasoned,
old.
seasoned.
All right, okay.
But
I get it. I get it.
I think just recalling it as soon as I can. I was my father's actually a pastor in New Orleans, and I think the first book that I can remember and that actually impacted my life more than others was the Children's Bible. And it,
right.
the illustrations and it made it easily understandable.
Joseph and the Coat of Many Colors.
That's right.
And all those.
That's
yeah.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
The Living Bible. Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, but that you can't go wrong with a good book.
You're right, absolutely right. Most definitely.
That's right.
And on that note, Miss Melody, you know a little something about that as well.
Oh, well, yeah, and just speaking of books, I mean, I grew up in a small town in Arkansas, and I was within walking distance from our public library, my house was, and every day during the summer, I would walk to the library first thing in the morning, go check out a book and read it that day, and then have it ready to get a new book the next day. I read everything imaginable. I loved to read as a kid, and I definitely hope that I can kind of pass a little bit of that love of reading along to my son, and that he'll kind of grow up in a similar way in that. So because I just have so many good memories of just laying around on lazy Sunday afternoons or whatever, just reading books. It was it's always great.
And Jamie. Plus, you have a
Gosh,
niece. I know you have
yes,
read too.
I do. I do. And Savannah is such a reader right now. But I mean, I think the one book that I remember is what are the little? It's not a little red book. What are those little? like the little golden book.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, I
Gold
remember
Spine.
that.
It was
Gold Spine, yeah.
Where Did the Baby Go was my favorite childhood book ever, and I actually still have it in my library
Is
today.
that like Where's Walt? No, just kidding.
Kind of,
Is it
yes,
really?
yes.
Okay.
And I have it today. I bought a newer version because the one that I had as a child was obviously a disaster. So I have a new one that's in my library still, and I hope that I can one day pass that on to my children.
Okay, now I don't feel so old.
Yes, little golden books teach you
I remember
everything
those,
in
yes.
life.
Golden
Yeah.
books.
They
Well,
do.
I have to tell you, I have a huge. Well, I have bookcases everywhere. I seem to collect books. They're friends. I can't get
Yes.
rid of them.
Yeah.
They just. And I've run out of space, and now they're in boxes. And I said, well, I'll give them to somebody. And no, I haven't yet gotten there, but I will.
can't- yeah, they're
but
hard to
my
let
niece
go
was
of.
visiting with me, and she said, Aunt Terry, why is she pointed? Why do you have all those? I said, what do you mean all those? And she said, all those books. You have a laptop. And I was just heartbroken. The only thing that made it okay is her brother was visiting with her, and the entire time he had his nose in a book. So I'm like, okay, well, at least we've got one in the family here,
Right.
and we're mixing and melding. But I think there's also data research shows that whether you're reading in the computer or books, you have to start off with. And many of the families that we're trying to reach right now, Jedediah, they may not have access to the internet, or if they do, it may simply be on their handheld device, their iPhone, whatever.
Right.
And then you don't want to use up all your time on that.
Right, and it's interesting because the generation that's before this generation that we're currently serving in Head Start and right now, they're really digital natives. Mm-hmm. So as we struggle to do things on the computer and on the iPad, they're actually whizzing through. They know how to get on YouTube and all of that. But I think that touch
Yes,
Right.
that tactile
is
experience.
tactile.
Yeah.
That's we when we're born, we may not open our eyes all the way, but that touch lets us know that that's mom. And putting a book in the hand of a child, it's an experience. I remember when I was a kid, my favorite time in school was the book sale. The Scholastic
Mine
book
too.
sale because
Yes.
It still
you know,
is.
So much fun.
you'd go and you'd go in the library and you'd have an hour just to have at it, So actually putting those books in the hands of a child that again may or may not have that access is extremely important to the growth.
Right. There's a different relationship when you're reading and it's with a book, because I have books I've had for years, and I've had friends who like to borrow one of my books, and I just grieved when the book wasn't in my stack, and I would check back in a couple of weeks. Are you finished yet? Can I have it back? It would have been I could have purchased another one or something, but still, there was something about that book that was mine.
Do you stamp yours and make sure they
Yeah,
come back?
yeah, because I've lost a few in the past. But there is something about being able to walk into a room and say, there's this thought, and I remember where it is, and go to your library and pull the book out and go, that's where it is. And then I do that a lot in my work in public affairs. I always go back to use my books as reference. And so, it's great about walking to my stack and looking at it and go, okay, this is where it is, and just kind of help develop. So.
Well, earlier, Carl, you mentioned something about STEM education. Maybe let's talk just briefly about that for those who are listening today who may not be aware. And the reason I bring it up is because you did, and because, again, they've proven that a lot of kids who do well in STEM are early readers. They started from the
Yes,
beginning, and they
yeah.
sparked that imagination. They sparked the interest like yours was. That robot book that
Right.
started it off.
Yeah, that STEM science, technology, engineering, math. That's a process where in the past it wasn't really emphasized with kids. And that's another key focus for Atmos Energy. I'm going to leave here today and attend a meeting where we're trying to build a collaboration with some organizations, including Tulane University, and look at how we can grow STEM programs throughout the region, particularly in Jefferson Parish. There's a robotics camp that one group has, core elements. We're going to try to get some of our engineers involved with that and look at ways that we can grow it even to River Parishes region and go from there. Yeah.
And that's important. I would think Jedediah, too, with a lot of the kids in a Head Start, because there's always been this kind of, once you have this opportunity to read and you can go forth, and maybe you'll also have a child, and maybe she will like that robot book and go on and onward and upward.
Yes. Specifically with our program, one of the great things about early childhood education it gets to the level of the child, and it actually promotes learning through play. And so setting up little play experiments around the classroom, following instructions that the teachers kind of established. Those are all foundations specifically to increase the awareness of programs like STEM.
And I've often seen that there are things when, at least, I remember, and I've seen in classrooms and knowing with my niece and nephews, that books will sometimes, you have a reading list and kids as they move on, but that can be part of a development for a whole a quarter of learning or something, and you expand upon that. Here was the theme of the book. Next thing you know, as you said, they're getting in, they're cutting or crayons or painting
Right.
you know, and plays and things all emanate from that written word from that book.
We have every year we have a Read for the Record Literacy Day, and it's amazing. You know, I always tell folks all the time. I said my favorite part of the day is if I can, you know, if I get the chance. You know, we're very busy at JeffCat, but if I get the chance to go and spend some time with the kids in the classroom, and specifically during these Read for the Record days, the books come to life within each individual center. And you know, this year there was a book about an earthworm who made desserts for their family, and you know they had worm cake, and you know it was just fascinating to see the books come to life. And that again affects the thought process, the outlook of a child.
Yes.
You know, imagination is key. You know, you don't have an Albert Einstein without an imagination. You don't have, you know,
Absolutely.
folks like that without, you know,
Exactly.
that thought of doing.
Yeah, I mean the early years are the learning years, and I mean the early literacy and the reading and learning in these children. I mean, them learning how to read and being at certain levels can definitely affect if they succeed or fail throughout life. I mean, having these fundamentals in place can truly affect their entire lives.
And there's more data that goes with that, that's showing kids that are early readers and, as you say, succeed in school, they will stay in school. Less
Right.
likely to drop out.
Correct.
Less likely to have teen pregnancy. Less
Right.
likely to get in trouble. It's amazing to think it all stems from just having that perhaps first book and that opportunity to
Right.
learn and to imagine.
You're right.
Absolutely. So, I mean, we're moving forward, and we would definitely like to thank Atmos and
Absolutely.
Jefferson Parish and NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune, is a big sponsor that's gotten behind us this year. So we want to thank everybody, and we're going to be out there just really trying to raise this money to get this going throughout the parish.
And that is a fabulous, fabulous opportunity for everyone. And again, we've got just a few minutes. This has gone by far too quickly. But Carl and Jedediah, I'd like to have you give one last thought to everybody who's listening today about this wonderful program.
Well, again, and this is on behalf of the parish president, the parish council, the citizens of the parish. Usually when folks come to you as government, it's to get, you know, but we've been given an opportunity where folks are coming to us to give, and to give to a worthy cause and to give to our children, which are the foundation, the future tax base, if you will, of the parish. And so putting a book in the hand of a child, putting a library in a home, giving a parent some hope is as beneficial as anything that anyone here in this room could ever do. So we appreciate that, and any time that we can also work to increase or work to create capacity within your organizations, we are more than willing to do that.
Thank you.
Sure. Atmos Energy, we're a part of this community. We have a vested interest in it. We all live here. I'm from the West Bank. We recognize the importance of you too. Great. We recognize the importance of opportunity. When you create situations where you create opportunity for families and people to kind of develop themselves, the whole community prospers. And so we have to look at ways to grow and just develop. And this is one way of doing it. The Imagination Library. So.
I think it's all wonderful. I just want to thank you so much for joining us today. Carl Weber, who is the Public Affairs Manager for Atmos Energy Corporation, Louisiana Division. Jedediah Jackson, who is the Director of the Jefferson Parish Community Action Programs. Melody Reed, who is the Director of Resource Development for United Way of Southeast Louisiana. And Jamie Birchfield, Marketing Director with United Way of Southeast Louisiana. And for United Way, I'm Terry Westerfield. I hope you'll all join me. Let's do the countdown. 3, 2, 1. Live
United.
All right.